Welcome back everyone to another episode of UKPS. Tonight we're going to be dealing with a Feltham special. I haven't done a special for a little while, so I thought I would talk about the first place I'd ever been and why, in my opinion, does it do more harm than good. You'll have to decide that. You have to make up your own mind on that. There's an old BBC Panorama show that I've dug up, boys in Feltham, that I've managed to dig up. I'm not going to show the whole thing, but this was set round about 2000s, the early 2000s. This show, and that would have been roughly, give or take a year or two, the first time that I went to Feltham. So this would have been, there was no changes. Yeah, it didn't spectacularly change in 12 months when I went there, it didn't change at all. It didn't change at all. This is the first 24 hours in a YO young offender's life.
Streets, they steal from our homes and our cars. We lock them away here in the suburbs of London, in this vast complex at Feltham. We're jailing more young criminals than almost any country in Western Europe. But prisons like Feltham aren't working.
Suspensions, investigations, violence, suicides is an utterly miserable, horrible establishment.
Tonight, Panorama tells the extraordinary story of 1 year behind the bars of Britain's biggest young offenders institution.
It looks, just from the outset, just from the beginning, just from the introduction, it looks really appealing, doesn't it? You'd want your kid to go there, no matter what he'd done. Big crime, small crime. You know, if you nicked a pot of coffee, you'd want him to get punished in a place like this, wouldn't you? I mean, they don't discriminate here. If you're in there for nicking a jar of coffee, or if you're in there for the big M charge, you're getting treated the same. Some might say a little bit worse if you was for the lesser crime, you know.
Over 10,000 times a year, the vans draw up and a young man walks through the doors of Feltham. A transit camp and jail for young prisoners from the southeast.
I mean, straight off the bat, without saying, this was it gets the feelings, it gets the old emotions back, like the feeling of the first time ever going. I'd never been to jail before, and then I ended up here. Mate, lonely is the word I would describe. I'm 40 years old now. Thinking back to when I was that age, a kid, 17 or whatever. Lonely would be the word that the emotion that I can think back on now. More than scared, more than upset, more than angry. Lonely, sitting in those court cells waiting for the bus, because you don't know anything. I might have been on the sweatbox, getting transferred to court, and then getting released from court. But I don't think, I'd never been to a jail before, and getting on the sweatbox, first thing people say to me was, "Oi, kiss a snout." Couple of boys like behind were trying to stick it on me, saying they were going to beat me up unless I give them a snout. Yeah, alone, lonely. As these all boys are clearly lonely. Bless them. They're an innocent looking bunch, aren't they? I mean, let's all feel sorry for them, because they are very, very innocent looking.
East. Some are on remand, some have just been sentenced. They are as old as 21.
Mate, this is. I'm sorry, boys. You all look bait as anything, mate. Cherubs.
And as young as 15.
It don't look like Oliver Twist, does it? Bless them.
These older prisoners kept separately from juveniles.
Date of birth? April 6, 1981. And your prison number?
Sorry to keep. Is he a Jehovah's Witness? Sorry, mate. Where have you? Like, I'm not trying to offend him, but is he trying to sell that screw of Bible or what? I mean, all day long. I used to get harassed by these sort of people going to the shop in Harlow, mate. That's a Jehovah's Witness right there. Poor soul. Well, he probably took the wrong turning. Bang up. What? Do you want a Bible?
Number FB968
Some of these young men are hardened criminals, some just boys who've made a mistake. Some are damaged and vulnerable young men who will have trouble dealing with this, their first night behind bars, as some former inmates told us.
I got put into this little room on the side. You have to wait for your name to be called. When your name gets called, they give you a number, and that's what basically you are, is a number.
You have a new prison number this time.
KR4149. That's my Feltham number. That's the number I was given in Feltham, my first ever prison number. KR4149.
Welcome back.
Oh, beautiful.
And then that's it, you go get your microwave meal, and you put it into a room on the right, and then you have to wait again, and then you go through strip search, and then you get put into a cell.
I'm 15 and I went into prison, like I couldn't believe it. Felt like hell. You couldn't really picture it. It's somewhere you don't want to be.
Just beyond reception, they face one of the few choices they'll be allowed to make for themselves.
You can have a smoker's pack or a drinker's pack.
The smoking pack consists of 10 Mayfair, a box of matches and a packet of popcorn. The non-smoking pack, which is the same price as the smoking pack, but of course there's no cigarettes in it. You've got some custard creams, a Kit Kat, some drink, a packet of Chewits and some penny chews to make it up to the amount.
A packet of popcorn? What? A packet of popcorn, mate? Smokers packs, they're a thing in the past nowadays, man. You don't get them no more. Now the smoking ban's come in, I feel sorry for the people. I was in there when the smoking ban come in. What am I talking about? No one felt sorry for me. But yeah, this is a kids' jail. Like this is basically kids. Imagine doing that now. There'd be an uproar now, wouldn't they? It's 15 to 21-year-olds back then, and it used to be the 15 and 18 to 18-year-olds were kept in one side, and the 18 to 21s were kept in the other side of the jail. I remember I was banged up next door to these youngsters. I was 17. I was over 50. I was used to be the smoking age was 16 in England. Then it went up to now it's 18, isn't it? Back in the day, it was 16. So I used to be able to smoke. I used to be able to buy cigarettes or tobacco on my canteen sheet, and my next door was like 15. So like, I used to have to buy him burn, and he'd give me whatever, you know what I mean. Then he'd put me down something on the canteen to the equivalent. I used to buy him tobacco. I used to pass it through the pipe. This is mental, isn't it? This is a kids' jail. Selling us. If you want to smoke, you want to smoke. I think 16. So if you're old enough to like join the army, then you're old enough to smoke. Really, isn't it? It's ridiculous. Talking about them holding cells a minute ago, when I was in holding cells with a Mormon, with a Jehovah's Witness guy. Those are no joke. Those holding cells were no joke. I mean, I had a few fights in Feltham. I never won one. Truthfully, never won one. And I took the biggest loss in the holding cell. Going like when they wake you up in the morning to get you to go to court. I walked in, mate, and I just see. I see one or two geezers that I knew straight away. Like, I know. Just sat down with a bowl of cornflakes and my milk, like waiting for the. And it just went off, and like, I fell down and I got stuck, like because the tables and chairs don't move. My legs were sort of in the air, and yeah, man, made was like a basketball. Poor me.
Soon inmates learn that young offenders institutions are not all popcorn and penny chews. We've spoken...
I've never seen popcorn. Like, that must have just got phased out within the year that I went. This genuinely, it was about a year. This was 2000, 2001, and I went 2002.
To inmates inside Feltham and to many who've been released. Some didn't mind being filmed, others wanted their identities concealed. They told us about their first nights here.
When I first arrived into my cell, I laid on my bed and I cried myself to sleep.
I was up for at least 3 days, really, no sleep at all, just thinking away to myself what I'd got myself into, what it was like in there, people I was meeting, basically.
I've never cried. I've come close. Not knocking anyone that has. I mean, I don't think I've got long enough to cry. If I got lifed off or 20 or 20 plus, then probably, yeah. I've seen many a man cry after they've been sentenced. Many boys, to be fair. Many boys.
Basically, I never felt safe at all. Basically, I had no one to turn to in there.
You get people banging on the pipes, like with bits of metal, like ting, 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 and you get other people shouting, well, don't fucking bang on the pipes, I'll break your face and things like that.
Lots of abuse, lots of cussing to your parents outside, people that you love, trying to make you feel hurt, angry, so you would retaliate.
Fights in prison, they always start with suck your mum. If someone says to you, suck your mum, they're basically telling you that they want to fight you.
Told ya.
Oi, number 7. 7 on the ones. Oi, number 7. Yeah. Suck your fucking mum, you prick. What?
Easy.
I said, suck your mum. What? Right, that's it, you're fucking getting it, mate.
Not condoning that sort of behaviour, but that goes on. That goes on all night at Bang Up. All night long. People will be getting out the window. 1 or 2 people will just be zoned in on, and the whole side of the jail, like whatever side they're on, will just be zoning in on 1 or 2 people, man. And it would all stop if they stuck up for themselves, but some people just never do.
Shout out number 6. Come up to your window. He went up to his window and said, please don't say things about my mum. And he goes, what? Why not? He goes, because she's dead. Then he just went, oh, suck your mum, R.I.P. Do you know what I mean? Things like that. Just makes people feel shitty.
I couldn't sleep, so I had to make myself sleep, and that's by knocking myself out against the wall, which I was seen by a doctor after a while.
What did you do?
I used to headbutt the wall just in order to get a bit of sleep until I passed out.
Why did the officers on duty at night stop the...
Screws don't stop it because they can't stop it. It's as simple as that. What are they going to do? Tell people to get away from the window? People ain't going to get away from the window, are they? It's as simple as that. That's probably what that screw's about to say.
Shout from windows call themselves window warriors. They try and bully new inmates into singing nursery rhymes. If they give in, they're bullied.
I don't think people call themselves window warriors, to be fair. I've never heard anyone call themselves window warrior. It's not a very nice thing to call. Like, it's usually, what are you giving it for, you window warrior? Say it face to face. But it's a big part of being in the YOs, the young, like Feltham, the young people's jails. I mean, you got to stick up for yourself out the window. It's as simple as that.
Shout from windows call themselves window warriors. They try and bully new inmates into singing nursery rhymes. If they give in, they're bullied even more.
Window warriors is where like people in the prison know that don't mess with him because he's top boy. He'll stab you, he'll beat you up.
You have a choice.
He's a cat. I don't even know. He looks like a character to me.
You're either fighting or you're going to sing a song. And some people, weaker than others, they'll sing. They're getting to sing all kinds of songs, nursery rhymes.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, and Mary had a little lamb and stuff like that. Bar, bar, black sheep.
Bar, 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 black sheep, have you any more? It's on and on.
He might have done that before, maybe. There was one time, this is a God's honest truth, when I was there, the night screws come around, showed everyone the whatever geezer cell he was in, yeah, told everyone his paperwork, yeah, and he was in jail for basically the charge, like, he was in a field with a goat, yeah, the goat was tied up, yeah, and he was going for it, yeah, he was giving it large, right? A trainload of people see it because they broke down. This is a God's honest. You could look this up, yeah. This crime was in the papers. This is how we saw it. This is how we see it. He come around showing everyone. I guarantee it's still there somewhere. And everybody was singing to him that night. Bar bar black sheep. He was, like, myself included, was all singing to him. That was the only time, probably in the history of Feltham, that the whole side of a wing, Heron, was singing to one geezer. Bar bar black sheep.
It's just until on and on until he finished the song and they say sing it again. and sing it again, singing
it again and again and again and again until they turn around and say I ain't singing it, and then they end up getting into a fight.
You can't get away from it. You're in a cell hearing.
It's as simple as that. Sing it again and again and again. It won't stop. People, you feel sorry for them. You never intervene for them, but you feel sorry for them. You're thinking, "God, mate, stop singing." Like, why can't you see what you're doing is detrimental to yourself? You know what I mean? You're not doing yourself no favours. You're thinking this person's going to leave you alone. The whole wing's listening to you sing. Like, just stop. Just think about peacocks. You used to see these tangled up in the barbed wire, mate. What a mistake these was to add these to the jail. I don't know why they added them.
Our wake-up call. The peacocks introduced when the prison's wings were named after birds, in the hope it would help young people cope.
Oh yeah, help young people cope. By the way, don't panic, it's organic. Don't panic, it's organic. If you want these prints, they can be anything personalised. Prints can be t-shirts, cups, toys, wedding invitations, anything you want. Check it out in the link below. All Star Sweets. Back to the peacocks, mate. What are they doing? Yeah, they were going to help. They were going to help us out. Yeah, they were going to calm us down. I used to see them tangled up in the barbed wire. They used to try and escape. Bless them. They used to get tangled up in the barbed wire. No one used to fish them out. Talk about the screws, like, ain't our job. Like, no one used to fish them out.
Interrogation unit. Volatile prisoners can be held on a strict regime for up to 3 days. This young man stands before the prison's new governor, accused of wrecking his cell on Swallow Wing.
3 wines smashed the sink of the wall, stating that he did not want to stay on Swallow Unit.
You didn't want to stay on Swallow Unit? What was the problem there?
Just don't like it on there, sir.
You pleaded guilty. I found the charge proved. Is there anything else you wish to say in mitigation? Why I should be more lenient with you? You can't go around smashing the sink off the wall, can you?
No, sir. I won't have nowhere to wash, will I?
No.
You know he said that for the camera. Good on him. I like that one.
10 prospective added days, 3 days cellular confinement, 7 days no pain, 7 days no canteen. Thank you.
7 days loss of everything.
I don't know why he did it. He says he doesn't want to be on that unit, but he didn't offer any explanation. If he'd said to me, I was getting bullied by other kids, okay, I take that into account. I will inquire further into that. But he didn't give me an in. So I've got to leave it now, and hopefully that...
You don't care. Just say you don't care. You're going home in a bit. You don't care.
Other staff will try and get some rational explanation from him.
In the segregation yard, an hour of exercise and fresh air. But when it comes to separating more seriously violent prisoners from the vulnerable ones, there have been terrible mistakes in Feltham.
These are kids, don't forget. Like, shoplifters, kids that have nicked bikes, kids that have had fights. You treat people like they're hardcore adults. They'll act like they're hardcore adults, you know what I mean? I don't think I ever went to the block in Feltham. I wasn't there long enough. Did I ever go to the block in Feltham? Trying to think. I don't think I did. Let's see what this doctor says about how good their medical healthcare is at Feltham.
For 3 years, Jeffries had been writing letters warning of sloppy standards at Feltham. He'd complained management was dismissive of his concerns.
Dismissive of the inmates, dismissive of their medical problems, dismissive of the risks that were part of the package of a young person being in prison.
Dismissive of children's safety, are you saying? To be really clear what you're saying.
Well,
this is a serious allegation.
Yes, it is a serious allegation, and I think that I would not have spent so much time writing so many letters as a matter of record to demonstrate my concern and my anxiety about the
dismissive of child safety. That's what they said, and that wasn't me. He said it. Jails are full of people that could do better, but there is people that want to do good, and they get held back, and he might be one of them. He could be one of them. Who knows? There are people there. We all know that anyone that's been backed up knows that there is people in there that try. Usually, it's not the actual prison staff. It's the healthcare workers or the education or someone. But there is screws as well. I'm not gonna pretend there ain't. I'm not planning on going back, so I don't have to pretend that every screw's a dog. But yeah, dismissive of everything. Yeah, sums up prison in general. Just dismissive of every single problem going. Just bang them up and keep them in there till they get out, and then breach them and send them back.
It was decided to put the juveniles into that unit, which I found totally ridiculous.
They're talking about Kestrel, which is, well, it was rowdy, and it was an adult wing, and there was, overcrowded. They're sending 15-year-olds and mixing them with the adults. I mean, safety quickly goes out the window when it's full, some might say.
Inmates from across Feltham told us about being locked in a cell almost all day.
Filthy, dirty, get treated different, locked away 24 hours a day.
Scary really, just in a dark cell, just with a bed in there, a toilet and a sink really, that was it at the time. And I just sat there really, just on my bed.
Banged up for about 23 and a half hours a day. Can't do nothing, you're walking around a 10-foot...
Nothing ever changes. Time never changes.
By a 6-foot square all day long, doing nothing.
You're there, and you ain't gonna get let out to go out and play if you beg. You're just locked
Is that Frank Bruno's son? Just by the voice.
up, and there's nothing you can do about it.
When you get so depressed and you just ain't got the will to live no more, you just think, fuck it.
A lot of young men in Feltham are already unstable. It's been estimated as many as 8 out of 10 have some kind of mental disorder.
8 out of 10. Do you think banging them up for 23 hours a day does anything for those 8 out of 10 people that need extra care? That needs a bit of extra of something to help them get through the day. Do you think 23 hours a day bang up does them any good?
And some of those with little will to live have developed macabre solutions.
There was a culture of hanging. Young people, as soon as they came into the prison, I think, were probably telling each other how to hang them.
Kids do crazy things. Kids do crazy things. Well, should have put it there from the start, shouldn't I?
Themselves, they would stand on the pipes, they would wait for an officer to come round, and then they would jump and hope that the officer would see them.
Some might say that was just to try and get bail. If you're doing that because of the environment you're in, you might get bail. Kids are ludicrous. We all know that.
One former inmate showed us he knew how to make a new.
I wouldn't know how to make one, genuine. I'm not saying most people do. I'm not saying a lot of people don't. I'm just saying it's me, myself, personally, I wouldn't know.
Use in a matter of seconds. Techniques like the one we're only showing part of here are passed from prisoner to prisoner.
It was a kind of cat and mouse game.
I never learnt that in Feltham. That was one thing that did sort of erode away by the time I went there.
Game between the young people and the officers, but it was a dangerous and at times deadly game that we're playing.
Yeah? Anyone else got any more then that could show you?
To combat
it, we're going to sit you down and talk to the number one screw on the wing. He can tell you about the do's and don'ts and what to look out for. Whoopsie-doo, Basil. But what does it all mean? Jack shit. Come on then, show us your kit. I know you're dying to, you show off.
there's also a suicide intervention pack on each wing.
Right in it, the most important piece of equipment that we've got is a resuscitate.
thought that was a sponge to give them a bath with after you've woke them up.
Yeah, if you find them unconscious. There's a pair of scissors to actually
Get their trousers off, you dirty dog.
cut anybody down, remove ligatures from the neck.
Oh, yeah, exactly, that's what I was thinking.
The reason they're actually bent as well is so we don't actually cut into them. As well as that, we have a hook, which is almost like a knife. It's used by just pulling it down and actually cutting away at any sheets or blankets. Because we're dealing with blood a lot of the time, we've actually got the rubber gloves and we've got bandages.
Just, because of the bleeding, yeah, I thought he was gonna violate man while I was on the floor.
Have you had to use this yourself? I have. I've had to use it 4 or 5 times. As we're in the induction unit, people at their most vulnerable because their first couple of days into custody.
You've had to use it on children of what ages?
Yeah, between 15 and 18 years of age.
That's what some sort of places does to. I mean, what do people think happens there? That they really get help and all the other waffle that people believe.
Suicide alert. The prison says suicide and self-harm attempts have fallen this year. But Code 1 alerts are still so frequent, they caused little surprise.
We've just had an incident here where a Code 1, which is known as a hanging.
These are so frequent that they don't even get. They're not even shocking. They're not even shocking when it happens. This would be what they're describing here would be tame. I've seen some naughty things that people have done to themselves.
A young Kurdish lad decided that he would hang himself.
Imagine being in another country. I'm presuming he's like. I don't know, he might be fluent in English, but imagine being somewhere else where you don't know the language and you're thinking everyone's talking about you and you don't know, right, people say dinner and you're like, what? You think it's an alarm going off or something. It's got to be intimidating, isn't it? Especially for a kid.
Or at least try to. We would have roughly 20 a week easily that staff have to deal with.
How many attempts at self-harm? Or suicide?
I think they're going to. Sorry to pause it again. I think this is that doctor again. He comes in. It's like the number. What he says is shocking.
Did you come across in Feltham?
An uncountable number of episodes of self-harm.
An uncountable number. This is kids. Don't forget. I keep saying it. I keep having to remind people of this. I don't want people to forget that. We're not talking adults here. We're talking 15 to 21-year-olds. Even if you're 21. What did you know when you was 21, truthfully? You might have thought you was a big man that knew everything. You're a kid, mate.
Whilst I worked there.
Uncountable?
Uncountable.
Well, by week?
I think by the day. There were phases, certainly, when I worked in Feltham where we would have 10 or 15 episodes in a day.
10 to 15 episodes a day. And I would... Again, I'm only guessing here because I haven't even looked at the facts, but what would you say it is? Would you say that's the 21-year-olds that are a bit more level-headed, that are a bit more about them, they might have been in and out of there a couple of times? Or do you think it's the youngsters? Who do you think's the majority of that? I know what I think.
Machine had attempted to hang himself, had done a very good attempt at it. He was on.
This is I think he was some sort of governor and he quit in disgust.
A life support machine, and I think from.
It's always good though, isn't it? The way they give it large once they've quit. Do something when you're there, man.
That moment on, I was thinking, I don't actually think I can continue to be part of this.
The 17-year-old young criminal was John Paul Stewart.
This is who he was just talking about.
He was close to death, but he recovered and was sent back to Feltham, where we found him in his cell, about to finish his sentence.
He did it in Feltham, and they went, alright, you're better now, get back to Feltham. They don't even send you to a new gaff, you know what I mean? It might have been Feltham that made him do it.
I was dead. I was dead.
What do you mean?
The only thing what was keeping me going was a life support machine. About 24 hours later, I woke up in intensive care. A tube sticking out of me.
What did you feel like when you came round?
Humiliated.
Humiliated. He woke up and he was humiliated. You would be, because you think you'd failed. That's what you think. Because it's not just about the doing it, innit? You've these people, you'd think they don't want to be saved. So, waking up probably you would think, oh, what? I think, is this?
No hardened criminal, but a young boy who could have been like any other. He lived in Ruislip, a quiet suburb in West London, only miles from Feltham.
Everyone used to say, oh, Kevin, you're so naughty, but my mum absolutely adored Kevin, and Kevin absolutely adored my mum. They was very close.
Perhaps even more than most kids, Kevin was desperately close to his mother. But she was diagnosed with cancer, and when they took a last holiday together in Florida, they knew the end was near.
These are the sort of boys that end up there. Yeah. I've always said it. Boys, girls, whoever gets banged up, it's not because they've lived a really happy and fulfilling life. Something's gone wrong somewhere, usually in the childhood, in my opinion. And this is the reality. Little kid, loved his mum. She sadly passes, and he goes off the rails. These ain't bad kids, you know.
His mother died on his 14th birthday, and Kevin never really recovered. His life began to change. He started to drink heavily.
When his mum died, he just went off the rails a bit and got involved with lads who were basically a lot older than him, because he was 14 and it was on his birthday that she died.
He'd wake up in the morning and have a can of lager. I think it was just to block everything out. He thought his life was so rubbish that if he had a can of lager and had a drink, everything would be alright, and it wasn't.
People don't realise alcohol's a depressant, man. Alcohol is classed as a depressant. Like even when you're drinking, you think you're having a good time and all that. Most people might get more angry when they're on it, but it's the next day when you've got your hangover and you get that feeling in your pit sometimes when you feel like everything's, and it's a drink, innit? But it's a depressant. So like if you're feeling bad anyway, then it's gonna make you it's just gonna make worse whatever you're feeling. Whatever you're feeling, it's gonna make worse.
He had hanged himself from the electric piping.
This is what he did in the cell.
Mortis had said.
That's how long he was up there. They're meant to check every couple of hours at least, man. At least. And these are, again, youngsters. You think they check every half hour. It was found in the morning and
set in, and Kevin could have been hanging there for most of the night. Kevin had left notes stuck with toothpaste to the cell walls, all referred to his mother. He just wanted, they said, to be with his mum. And he left a last letter for his family. It was only handed over to them some 6 months later.
6 months later? Is that a liberty or what?
Dear family, I'm so...
You're just thinking you're getting over it a little bit, maybe, and then they go, yeah.
Sorry for doing this to you. ride this amount of time in here without seeing Mum's grave. Being with Mum and Grandad is better than living the life I'm living. The courts don't give a fuck about anyone. I asked them to help me with my alcohol problem, but they wouldn't. They just throw me in here. I know this is going to be hard for all of you.
What would have helped him more in reality? Yeah, sending him to a detox place and getting him counselling to deal with his loss, helping him with the drink, or sending him to Feltham. What would have helped him more? What? People always say, just bang them up and forget about them. Bang them up until they're... Some people need help, mate. Why not focus on it when they're young? Why let them waste years and years? Or listen to this poor geezer as well, mate.
Men in Feltham who want to harm themselves. The most troubling cases come here to the healthcare centre. In reality, mainly a mental health ward with psychiatric care and special nurses. Some are so disturbed they should be in NHS psychiatric beds, and some say Feltham's just made them worse.
Oh man, it's crazy. It's, well, using the wrong words maybe, but sending someone like this to a prison makes them worse. Who'd have thunk it, mate?
I'm missing my mum a lot. Like, I was with my
mummy issues, man. We've all had them.
mum every day from like since I was born. I hardly ever without her, and like being put in prison just cut me off from all that. I tried to hang myself in.
Again, is this helping him?
I was so stressed out, and like the voice in my head was telling me just to do mad things like hang yourself, just die, you're better off. I think because I genuinely want to die. I've had enough. Like this prison, you know what? When I was on the street, yeah, I was like ill, yeah, but when I've come to prison, it's made my illness 10 times worse.
It's also a difficult place for staff. Last month, when we were in the prison, there were repeated outbreaks of violence in the healthcare centre, which we weren't allowed to film.
It beggars belief, doesn't it? What do they think's going to happen? What do these people think's going to happen? These people need help, and they're always going to need help, but they're always going to end up in places like this where they don't get it. And the cycle just continues. Anyway, let's look at someone getting out. Let's end it on a good note.
Stuart, now recovered from his brush with death, prepared to leave Feltham for the world outside.
Good, Stuart.
He was uncertain whether he'd be back. Do you think you will come back? Do you think you'll stay out?
I'm gonna try my hardest to stay out, but what happens, isn't it?
Nationally, more than 7 out of 10 young offenders are reconvicted. In Feltham, it's almost certainly more. John Paul's already trying to run off with his prison jacket.
What's that?
Worth a couple of £100, that jacket, mate. Honestly.
It's going away prison, isn't it?
Nerds pay big money for something with a HMP badge.
Some say tough prisons for tough kids do work, or at least keep them off the streets.
Confiscated that.
But the record at Britain's biggest young offenders institution suggests too many inmates are harming themselves, each other, and the rest of us.
The society wish us to simply put them behind a fence, lock them up, do nothing with them, and then throw them out the gate 6 months later saying, back into society you go. All that will achieve is more victims, more crime.
Yeah.
Says someone that would know. But will he be listened to? Hail to the Izal Nizal Kaplizal. Feltham. It was the same then. It's worse now. And some say it's worse now anyway. Is it worse now? That's not my opinion. I'm just a news presenter. Let me have a slurp. Well, if you enjoyed the realities of Feltham, I'm sure we'll meet again. Adios, amigos.